All right, good morning guys. Today we're going to be doing our demo for Chicken Parmesan. We're going to be taking our Sauce Tomat that we made yesterday and turning it into a complete dish. So I'm going to take this, just put this to the side, keep it on a warm, low heat, just to keep it simmering and warm. All right, for the ingredients, what you're going to need 2 chicken breasts. We're going to butterfly these, just cut them in half. You have kosher salt and black pepper, about 1 cup or 4 ounces of breadcrumbs. I'm using Italian style breadcrumbs. Any type of breadcrumb will do. Plain, panko breadcrumbs are the best. If you do not have breadcrumbs, you can just take Ritz crackers, just crush them up and just crumble them up and just use that. As far as the breading we're going to use here, the amounts are not set in stone, so if you need to use a little more or a little less, that's fine. Just giving you a ballpark. Okay, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 large egg that has been mixed together and beaten together with just a tablespoon of water. We're going to use this in our breading, so I'm going to keep that to the side for now. 1 cup or about 5½ ounces of all-purpose flour. 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. I'm going to be using freshly grated here, but if you have the can of grated cheese, that is fine as well. Half a cup or 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese that is in the fridge right now. Our Sauce Tomat, which you saw earlier. If you would like, some parsley or basil for garnish. And then half a pound or 8 ounces of any pasta of your choosing. Today I'm going to be going with spaghetti. Any sort of long, thin noodle that will cling to the sauce here will work. Personally, spaghetti is traditional, and it's just my preference, but you can go with whatever. Penne, fettuccine, whatever you'd like. Also, as far as one other ingredient, you're going to need oil for frying. Now, you won't need much here. You'll just need enough just to come up halfway off the pan. Now, the best oil to use is a neutral flavored high smoke point oil. What I have in here is vegetable oil. You can use vegetable oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, peanut oil. The only oils I would avoid using is anything that has a really strong flavor to it. So extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, any sort of nut oil like walnut or cashew oils, anything like that. With the exception of peanut oil, I would use very high smoke point oils. Okay, so I'm going to be using, again, vegetable oil here. You choose what you've got on hand. All right, and that is all our ingredients. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do, just before I contaminate my board with the raw chicken, is I'm just going to mince up just a little bit of parsley for garnish. So you remember from when we worked with cilantro, you take the bundle, you kind of want to press it together, keeping your fingers curled, and you just want to go through the parsley once. You don't want to go back and forth, otherwise you'll make the press out all the oils from it. It's not what we want. Okay, so I got my parsley minced up. All right, now I'm just going to clean my board here real quick. Okay, right now, as you can see, just kind of right at the corner of the shot here, I've got some water just coming up to a boil. I'm just going to let that go. So step number 1 here is you are going to cook your pasta according to the package directions. Now, for my spaghetti, I'm just going to move the camera over here. No matter what pasta you're using, you want your water to come up to a full boil. Now, here you want to use enough pasta that enough water that the pasta is going to be covered. I'm also going to add just a good sprinkling of salt. And that looks like it's a lot, but trust me, it's really not. You're just using it to season your pasta. Now, once it's at a boil, I'm gonna get my pasta. Okay, sorry about that, my camera cut out. But anyway, so once my water is at a boil, I'm just going to very carefully lower pasta in, and then using my tongs, I'm just gonna kind of work that in. Now, the first minute or two of cooking pasta, you need to be stirring this quite a lot, okay? Once that, first 2 minutes is up, then you can just leave this boiling. But first minute or so, you want to keep the pasta from sticking to itself. All right, so I'm going to be setting my timer for about 9 minutes. After 9 minutes, the pasta should be fairly soft. I'll take a noodle out, I'll taste it, test it, make sure it's all done all the way. But we're just going to let that sit to the side. So I'm going to continue on with my next step. All right, so you see my pasta here just sitting. I'm just going to stir that again every once in a while here in just the first minute. Just make sure that doesn't stick. All right, so now we are going to go to our next step. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the chicken breast. So how I do that is I'm going to take my knife, and first I'm going to trim off any sort of sinew or fat that is on the chicken breasts. First thing there. Okay. And I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to hold it, parallel to the board. Here, let me move the camera so this is a little easier to see. Okay, so I have my chicken breast. You have the top part of the breast here. You'll see the section right here where the breast was attached to the rib of the chicken. You're going to, from that side, you're going to hold your knife just parallel to the board, and just about halfway, you're going to slice into the chicken breast with your hand up top, being very careful. Again, this is where having a sharp knife really helps. I'm going to cut the chicken breast, and I'm just going to kind of slice and almost open it up like a book here. Slicing, and then once it's opened up like this, I'm going to slice that right in half. So now I have 2 chicken cutlets. All right, I'm going to put those to the side. So once again, I have my breast here. I got the section right here that the rib was attached. I'm going to take my knife about halfway. I'm going to slice very carefully into it, making long pulling strokes with my knife. Open the breast up here. Now I'll slice right in half. Okay, little fat here that I forgot to trim off. There we go. Okay. All right, now that I have my chicken breasts ready to go here, I'm going to season them with kosher salt all over. Flip them over. And do the other side here. Okay. Also a little bit of pepper. Now, the fact that my hands are touching raw chicken, that's why I'm using a separate pepper and kosher salt container instead of using the large container of it. So that way, after I'm done with this, I'll just throw away both of these containers. So no risk of contamination. All right. So I'm gonna put these to the side as I continue on with the rest of the recipe. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna prep my breading station here. So this is step 3. In one bowl, I'm going to prep my breadcrumbs. So I'm gonna have breadcrumbs, my garlic powder, and the dried oregano. All right, just gonna simply combine that together. Then in the flour bowl, I'm just going to put in a little extra pepper just because I like the flavor of that. And I'm going to grate in a little bit of Parmesan, about 2 tablespoons worth. Okay, now if you'd like to add more, go for it. You'll add more to a caramelized crust on your chicken here, but you don't want to go too excessive because otherwise then you risk burning it. So I'm just going to grate that fresh. All right, and I'm going to combine that. And now I'll have my breading station ready to go. So mix that together. Got my egg station right here. And bread mixture right there. All right, now the order in which we're going to do this is pretty important here. I'm going to actually just pause here for a second because my pasta is about to come out. It's just about ready, so I want to make sure I'm not overcooking that. And then we'll be back. When we're back, I will show you guys how to do this. All right, so my pasta is cooked. It is draining right now. One thing with pasta, you want to always taste it before you drain it. You almost want to undercook it very slightly just because as it's sitting, it's going to continue cooking a little bit. So just slightly undercook it, and then you can always finish it cooking it in the sauce itself. All right, anyway, so what we're going to do here is step 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each chicken piece, and I'm going to toss it into the flour. Here, I'll move this so you can see. Okay, just gonna toss that in. Okay, make sure it's fully coated. And then I'm gonna shake off the excess flour. Once I've done that, I'm going to put it directly into the egg wash. There, I'm going to make sure it's fully coated. Flip it over. Okay, and once I see it is fully coated, I'm going to pick it up, make sure to let the excess drain. Otherwise, if you do not do this, then what will happen is when you bread this and you go to fry it, all the breading will just slide right off. So it's not what you want. There, put that right in there. And now notice how I used my left hand to bread it, then I used tongs to put in the egg wash. Now I'm going to use my right hand in order to put the breadcrumbs on. This way you don't like coat your gloves or coat your hands with a ton of like egg and flour and develop like this club hand. So I'm going to put that on, make sure I get the breadcrumbs on every inch of this, and I'm just going to press it right in. Okay, firmly just press the breadcrumbs right in. Make sure I get every crevice of that. All right, now I'm gonna just take that and just set it to the side. Now I'm okay with putting it right back on the same tray since it is still raw, so completely all right here. So, okay, sorry for the flashing there. All right, so same thing, just gonna put the chicken breast into the flour mixture. Just make sure I coat it all over. Right into the egg wash. Just kind of coat that. Let that drip right into the breadcrumbs. And so from here you get the idea. So I'll cut back when all of these are completely coated and we'll go to frying. All right, to start this next step, what you gotta do is you gotta preheat your broiler. So I'm going to preheat that. And what's gonna happen is when I open my oven, a broiler is basically an upside down grill. So inside the oven, you see this little rack right up top. Now, your oven may be different if it's a gas oven. What's going to happen is that's going to heat up, and anything you put underneath the broiler, the very top of it is going to get a lot of heat. We need that if we're going to be melting mozzarella cheese later on top of the chicken. But for now, we're just going to let this preheat, and now we're going to fry. Okay. So right now I have a pan that is preheating right now on about medium-high heat. We are going to fry these. So right now I've got my chicken breaded, ready to go. What I'm going to do just before that is I'm going to take a baking pan here, for the camera to adjust, and I'm going to just spoon a little bit of the tomato sauce just right on the bottom. Now, the reason I'm doing this is so that when the chicken is done frying, I'm just going to put the pieces directly onto this tomato sauce. That way it doesn't stick and scorch on the pan when we go to broil the cheese. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to just leave this to the side of the pan. All right, so now I'm going to fry. Now, when you are frying, first of all, be super careful. You are dealing with very, very hot oil, okay? If you see any smoke coming out of this pan, turn the heat off. Okay, wait for it to cool down and then continue cooking, all right? So what we're gonna be doing is shallow frying, not deep frying. So I'm gonna fill this until the bottom of the pan is completely covered in oil. All right, so just gonna take my bottle here, just generously squeeze the oil. Hear a little bit of sizzling, a little bit of popping here. All right. Seems like a lot. That's why, again, I'm telling you to be careful. All right, now I'm going to place my chicken cutlets into the pan. And I should hear sizzling right away. Okay, I'm not hearing sizzling from the chicken, so I'm actually going to take that out. I'm going to wait for this oil to just heat up a little bit. You can hear it kind of getting a little angry there, just kind of bubbling. But I'm going to basically deep fry the chicken, or sorry, shallow fry the chicken on each side for about a minute or two. So let me just wait for the oil to heat up, and then I'll fry. All right, so give it a little time, should be nice and hot. Now when I put the chicken in, it should be sizzling. There we go, much better. All right, I'm just gonna fry this for about a minute on each side. Now when you put the chicken in, very careful, or you wanna be very careful, you're gonna put the chicken in and then just lower it away from you. Okay, do not just throw it in, you'll have a lot of oil splash up on you. Okay, so I'm gonna deep fry this, or sorry, keep saying deep frying, my bad. Shallow frying this for a minute or two on each side. Okay, so I'm gonna let this just flip it over. Okay, be careful with a non-stick pan and a metal tong here. You don't want to scrape the bottom of the pan. Okay. So this one is perfect. This one probably could have been cooked a little longer, but that's okay. I'm gonna let that cook for another minute. If you want to take its temperature, you're shooting for around 150, 155. Remember, it's gonna cook a little bit more in the oven here, so we don't need it to be perfectly done just yet. Okay, so I've taken the temperature of both of these. This one is ready to go. This one needs a little bit more time, so I'm gonna flip it over and then I'll let that cook a little bit longer here. Okay, that's ready to go. I'm gonna take that out. There we go. And if I just rotate here, sorry, trying to do this with one hand. There we go. Just gonna put the chicken breast or cutlet just right onto the sauce. All right, now I'm just gonna continue frying here, each piece until we're ready to go. All right, from here, gonna go to our second to last step, I'm going to spoon just a little bit of the sauce over the center of the chicken. Now, I don't want to completely coat this. We just spent a lot of time frying these, getting them nice and crispy, so I don't want to make that completely soggy now. But I'm going to add in a little bit of sauce just to coat the top. And now I'm going to sprinkle this with the mozzarella. Now, you can go as heavy or as light as you like here. Now, I am using my bare hands here because this is not ready to eat yet. I'm going to be putting this under the broiler. So, good exception to the rule here. And the rest of this is going to be applied in the exact same way. So, none of this is ready to eat yet. Okay. A little bit more here. Cover any edges, like little edges here that need a little protection from burning in the oven. Okay, now I'm gonna just grate a little bit of Parmesan over the top. Add nice color to this. Okay, now from here, you're gonna put this into the oven under the broiler. Trust me when I say do not take your eyes off of this. Every broiler is a little bit different. Your broiler may take as little as 30 seconds to do this. Okay, some broilers may take 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, it just depends on how powerful your broiler is. But believe me, food under the broiler can go from perfect to burnt in just like a couple seconds. So keep an eye on this. Peek if you have to. But I'm going to put this on the top rack of my oven. Okay, you can see the top of the oven is glowing. Gonna put this right underneath that. I know it's kind of hard to see with how much light is coming off of that, but I'm just gonna leave this for a minute or two or until the cheese is nice and bubbly. All right, so here we have it. We've got our chicken broiled. Looks delicious. Now, in the pot here, I got the pasta. I poured in the rest of the sauce tomat in there. So let's go ahead and plate this. So, move my camera here. Probably knows I've got gloves on because everything now at this point is ready to eat. So I'm going to take a little bit of my pasta. Just put that right into the center. A little bit of herbs right on that. And now with a completely separate, clean utensil here, I'm going to take one of my pieces here. I think I'll take this one. Put it right out. Just place that right on top here. Just grate a little bit of Parmesan over it. Little garnish, and then need to wipe the plate clean here. All right. And there we go, guys. So that's our chicken parm here. From here, oops. Okay, make sure you have your mise en place sheet filled in. If you are cooking this, make sure that you take a video of yourself either butterflying the chicken or frying the chicken. So either way, whether you want to show off your knife skills or the cooking technique, and make sure to take a picture of your mise en place, your setup, and the final dish here. Okay. All right, and there we have it. If you have any questions for me, please go ahead and let me know.